course, there are other things you can play with. There's aromatic wood chips like these, and here we've got some mesquite chips, hickory chips, apple chips. You know what you do? You soak them in water and you put them on top of your fire. We've got herb stems. This is the stems of basil that have been dried. There's vine cuttings. I've seen people sell Cabernet Sauvignon cuttings, Chardonnay cuttings to put on the fire. There's dried herbs. This is dried sage. You can put this stuff on the fire. These are all fine, but their effect is more on your guests than on your food. They don't really do a whole lot other than make the air smell awfully good for a while. Tell you what, though, if you're doing the slow cooking thing in the Weber, you will get more flavor from them because you've got more time to impart the flavor to the food. Listen, if you really want to be elemental, you can also build a wood fire. Forget about charcoal entirely. Just get wood. Just, you know, like hack off a little bit of your house in the back and put it on the fire. This really makes a great fire. This happens to be mesquite that I've got right here. Mesquite wood, not charcoal, just wood. The problem is that wood doesn't burn quite as hot as charcoal, which is, it's amazing. Charcoal is ideal. It's also unpredictable, bigger pieces, smaller pieces, porous pieces, non-porous pieces, and it takes much longer to finally get a uniform bed of coals. So I'm sticking with hardwood charcoal. Now, what's the best way to light it? First of all, forget about lighter fluid. That's what makes the suburbs on a warm summer night smell like an oil refinery. I don't like that. There are better ways. One is this electric coil. See this thing? I like this very much. It does the trick. It's fast. It's easy to use. You take it, you put it on a bed of charcoal that is not hot, obviously, uncooked charcoal. Lay it down there on the bed. You take more charcoal. Well, maybe that's a little bit too much charcoal. But you take some more charcoal. I get excited when I get around charcoal. And you put it on top of that, and then what you do is you plug this in, and in no time, your coals are glowing. The only problem is you do have to plug it in. And if you're going for the feeling of the great outdoors, like us kids over here, sort of spoils it, you know what I mean? And you may not have an outlet outside. Never mind. There's a perfect solution. The chimney. This is what I use all the time. You line up charcoal in here. I've got a whole bunch of charcoal, lump charcoal in there. You take some newspaper. See, I'm just crumpling up this newspaper right here. You stick it in the bottom. I'm using the New York Times because I want a fire that's not particularly hot. If you want a hot fire, you use page 6 of the New York Post. Then what you do is you just take a match and you light it on the bottom here. You got to be careful where you put it down. Okay, because if you put it on top of wood or something like that, you're going to burn the wood. But put it like on a stone patio or something like that. Then you're fine. In 10 minutes, the whole thing is ready. And then you just spill it in the grill and you're ready to cook. Now, there are a couple of other tools that make your life slightly easier. Let me go quickly through them. Go to a restaurant supply store, get a pair of these. This is what restaurant chefs use. They're very good for turning your food, okay? And they're spring-loaded. They're very easy to use. This thing is good for like hamburgers and fish fillets and things that might be a little bit difficult to grab with tongs. This thing a lot of people use, but I don't like this because when you poke the meat with this, you let all the juices out of the meat. So I tend to use this for like moving my coals around and also picking up my grill when it's hot. Alrighty, so those are the basics. One more thing that you want to know is how to clean your grill. It gets really messy, you know. You should have one of these, a stiff wire brush, and you should use it soon after you take the food off while the rack is still pretty warm. And lastly, if you forgot to clean your grate at your last barbecue in October, and you discover it in May, and it's red with rust and encased with the equivalent of rock candy, this is what you want. The Skill Double Insulated Variable Speed Reversible 3/8" Power Drill with Paint Stripper Attachment. Certainly creates a tension at a cookout, doesn't it? Okay, don't go away. We're going to talk about the most important part next. Enough equipment. We're going to talk about food! Gotta admit, I cook 365 days a year, but on those days when I'm able to stand outside and grill, I like that especially. Okay, I'm like everybody else. I like to grill outside, and I really love to grill steak. Now, it's easy to blow it on steak. The way you blow it is by getting a steak that's not thick enough. I've got here a raw shell steak that's about 2 inches thick. I've also got one that's like 1/4 of an inch thick. This is going to be a disaster on the grill. In fact, take a look. This is what it's going to look like when you cook it. It's going to be kind of gray on the outside or black, and I'm going to tear this. I mean, look at that. You couldn't possibly eat that. You wouldn't want to eat that. Give it to your dog. See, the thing is you want to put the steak over a high heat and get it all charred outside and juicy within. And only if it's thick will you be able to get the proper char outside while keeping it rare inside. See this one? Oh, this is a gorgeous hunk of steak. And as soon as you go away, we're going to have a little party. Okay, now chicken is the opposite. See, for steak, I want a lot of heat and I want it to be thick. Chicken, of course, I can't control the thickness of a piece of chicken with a bone in, but I can control the heat. If you cook it over heat that is too hot, see, everybody thinks like chicken doesn't take long. Like a thick steak will take a long time, but chicken won't take long. But that's wrong. Chicken takes a long time because you don't cook chicken rare. You cook it till it's well done. Steak you cook rare. So chicken takes a long time, and if you put it over high heat, it's going to get burned by the time it's done. And especially if you slather it with barbecue sauce, which caramelizes on the outside and it gets all black. Now look at this guy is black on the outside. Let's go in here. Look at that. Salmonella City. You definitely don't want to eat that. So what you have to do is you have to put your chicken over a very low flame, or, you know, keep your rack lifted away from the flame, and then you get into chicken like this. And you see, that's better. That one is done. Just past pink, which is exactly how I like it. And it's nice and lightly brown on the outside, not too charred. It's the same deal with sausage. Here's one that's all charred on the outside, and look, uncooked on the inside. This is pork, folks. You can get trichinosis from pork that's not cooked. But this one, lightly browned on the outside and done on the inside. And the reason is that it was done over a lower flame or further from the flame. Let's talk a little bit about shellfish. I love cooking shellfish on the grill. I love cooking shrimp on the grill. There's one problem. Sometimes the shrimp falls right through the grill onto your fire. That's not very nice. So what you have to do, there's a very simple way to get around this. You buy one of these. It's a special shellfish grill that goes on top of your grill, and then you put it on, and unless you've got extremely small shrimp, believe me, it's not going to fall through. This you would do over an open fire, in a hot open fire. It cooks right away. It cooks in 2 or 3 minutes. You can also do other kinds of shellfish, like mussels and clams, and you see these won't fall through this special grate. These you want to cover. The mussels and clams. By the way, here's what the shrimp look like when they're grilled. I love the taste of. I like to leave a little bit of shell on because it picks up a wonderful shell flavor, a special crustacean flavor. The mussels and the clams I would cover, and then, you know, in like 4, 5, 6 minutes they open up and they look like this, and they've got a wonderful smoky grill flavor also. This is a great way to cook mussels and clams in the summertime. Lobster on the grill is also great. One thing is that you want to cut it open and split it. Now, a lot of people are a little squeamish about cutting open a live lobster. You can have your fishmonger do it, or you could treat it at home yourself. Bring a live lobster home and then parboil it. Put it in boiling water for a minute or 2.